Hey everybody, it's Maria, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why I will never stop reading aloud to my kids. I grew up, I loved my parents. I think they did a great job raising me, but I don't really remember them reading to me after I learned to read for myself. And I think a lot of us kind of grew up with that experience. Like, why would you read to your kids if they already know how? It seems like that would be a great opportunity to get anything else done. And I completely agree that there are times where it's good for everybody to have their own books or for them to do their own reading while I can do something else. But I think it's really important to continue reading out loud to your kids for several reasons. A few years ago, I started listening to the podcast called Read Aloud Revival with Sarah Mackenzie. And if you have not heard it, there are so many great reading recommendations on that podcast. Sometimes she'll have authors on to talk about it. Sometimes she'll have other homeschool moms or just other moms in general. It's not just for homeschoolers. And she gives some great tips on reading aloud and also choosing books. The podcast has been around for a couple of years, so there's some great stuff there, as well as a group if you want to join up with it. But for me, the more I started hearing about how important it was to read aloud, the more I really got on board with the idea. As a homeschooler, it really is helpful for me to get several subjects done at the same time because I can read a book out loud to my kids. I don't have to do different things for each of the kids. They can sit back and listen and learn from my own reading. Another thing is you can read books that are above their reading level that they might not be able to do on their own or they might be intimidated by, but also have the discussions on that content. So we will do audiobooks a lot in the car. We do not have screen time available for the kids while we're on long car trips, and we take several long car trips. Both of our families, extended families, are further away, so at least 3 hours. So they're used to being in the car, but we've never let them have tablets while we're in the car because that's time for us to talk or play a game out loud or oftentimes listen to music or an audiobook. We have gone through so many audiobooks like this going on car trips, and it's something that they really look forward to. And honestly, my husband and I have started looking forward to it too. It gives you guys a common folklore to talk about. I don't know how many times we have said something and one of the kids has quoted something from a book that they've heard, or hey, that's just like this in this book, and it becomes part of your family culture. And I think that is really something special that you can do past the picture book stage even. Now, I am going to be giving you some picture book recommendations because I really do believe in great picture books lasting a lifetime. Just like I think it was Mark Twain said that, maybe it's Mark Twain. I don't know, that whole quote about you can tell if a good book is good because it can last past childhood. If you can't pick up a book as an adult and as a child and find value in it, there's something up with the book, not with you. And I think there's so many great smaller kid books that have stuck with me that I didn't even grow up with, that I'm really getting value from, especially with people being more aware of diversity and some other more ethical, moral things that they might have to deal with now. So I am going to be sharing with you some of my favorite picture books, and I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think about what reading aloud adds. For me, it's a time saver because I can cover a lot of different things for people. It adds to our family culture, and really honestly, it's just so enjoyable. We love looking at the art together. My eldest, who's almost 9, was looking at one of his little sister's books and just said, "Mom, these illustrations are beautiful." And it's just, he's right. They are beautiful. And I love adding beauty into my children's and my own life whenever I can. So that said, let's go ahead and jump right in because it's a big stack. I tried to really narrow it down to, over the years, what our favorite picture books are. And there's some old ones and there's some new ones. So this one's actually a fairly new one. I actually got this recommendation from my sister-in-law, and it's The Adventures of Beagle, The Unimaginary Friend by Dan Santat. And this book is adorable. It's about this beagle, and he lives on an island where all the imaginary friends live, and everybody keeps getting picked except for him. And so he goes off on a journey to find his friend and become real. So I thought it was it's a fun one. It's just a whimsy. I like books like that. So, and I always look for books with good illustrations that can make me laugh, because honestly, especially with the 2-year-old, we will be rereading these books over and over and over again. And if it's not humorous and the art's not beautiful, I'm just not going to be able to do it. So next up is the one that I was telling you about earlier that my 9-year-old was referring to. It's called The Adventures, and it's written by Rachel Elliott, illustrated by Valeria DeCampo. Look at that. I mean, it's just so pretty, and it's just about going out on an adventure. I love the art on here. It's so pretty. It makes you feel like you're flying, and who doesn't like that? So this next one is also a recommendation from my sister-in-law, and there is a follow-up to it that we got from the library as well. This is Mother Bruce by Ryan Higgins. And, it is one of my 2-year-old's current obsessions. I have had to read this book about 50 times in the last 2 weeks since we got it from the library. Bruce is a bear, and he likes to be kind of adventurous in the kitchen. He enjoys very fancy egg recipes, and so he's always looking up fancy recipes on the internet and going home to make them. And one day he accidentally brings home eggs that have chicks in them, or not, goslings, and they hatch, and they think he's his mother, and of course he's not, but he has to figure out what to do with them. It's just so cute. It's really adorable. So I'll show you some of he's trying to explain migration to them, and they're just not understanding it. These are, yeah. He's going off shopping in his little cart. So this one's just funny, and it's followed up by Hotel Bruce, which is also pretty adorable. But what I liked about it as a mom, you relate to Bruce because he's just so worn out and wants to just have nice things again, and he can't because he has goslings. And I think every parent can kind of relate to that a little bit sometimes. Not that we'd want to get rid of them, but that sometimes you just want to have a little quiet with some nice food. This next one is The Spider and the Fly, and it's based on the poem by Mary Howitt, and this is illustrated by Tony Lizzie, I think is. This one's perfect for Halloween time, and I'll actually probably put it in a Halloween book recommendation. It's based on a poem from, I want to say, the early 1900s. That's kind of a be wary of who is flattering you, because you might be falling into their net and their web. And it's just so well done. You can see all these ghosts are trying to warn her because she's coming into this spider's house, and it's actually a dollhouse, but you don't kind of see until later. They're trying to warn her, no, he's the joy of cooking bugs. And she's not listening because the spider tells her all sorts of wonderful things. And she's saying, oh no, I must leave. And he's like, oh no, my dear, come here. And shows her a little mirror. He's very flattering. And I think it's just kind of a fun way to talk to kids about being careful sometimes, because sometimes people are taking advantage of flattering you. And it's a really beautifully illustrated book, and it's a fun way to introduce that poem. So I love it. The Spider and the Fly. This next one, I think, is my favorite, and I mentioned it before, but this is The Fantastic Flying Books of Dr. Morris Lesmore, and it's by William Joyce. He is the same man who did The Sandman, Rise of Guardians, The Mischievans. This is actually a Pixar short. They made it into a short, and it makes me cry every time I read it. The illustrations are phenomenal, and if you are a reader and you need to give a book to a child, this is the book you give them, because, well, basically, Mr. Morris Lesmore has a very dull, dingy life. It kind of looks like the beginning of Wizard of Oz, where it's very black and white, no color, very dull. And then he meets, I'm going to show you. Yeah, so you can see black and white, very dull. he sees this woman who is flying away. This is my favorite page, with a book, a bouquet of book balloons, and she throws him a book, and he starts to have his life change because he becomes a reader. And then he starts handing out books to other people, and they start changing into color, and the stories become a part of him, and he becomes a part of the stories. And it's just, yeah, I love this one. I could like cry talking about it because it's just the most beautiful tribute to reading that I can imagine. So bravo, William Joyce. You did a great job. Next up is another great one, and it's The Highway Rat. This is actually, it's written by Julia Donaldson, illustrated by Axel Scheffler. They did the Gruffalo, which we have all the Gruffalo. This is the Gruffalo's Child. Anything by her pretty much is golden. This Highway Rat is less well known, I think, but I love it because if you are familiar with the Highwayman poem by, Alfred Noyes. Anyway, very old poem. I have loved that poem forever. It's about a highwayman who ends up, he's trying to get away. His sweetheart is trying to warn him because he's being pursued by redcoats, and it doesn't end well. It's very beautiful, sad, romantic ending that everybody needs to have in their life. But The Highway Rat is a children's adaptation, and it's about a rat. It has the same rhyme and tones and stanzas, setups, and everything. So I like to use the same inflection that I read The Highwayman with. But it's about a rat who's very selfish, and he's taking all the food from all the other animals, and he gets tricked into learning his lesson. So it's just really fun. All of the illustrations are great, and I love it. I can't recommend that one enough either. This next one is a series. It's the Ladybug Girl series. My 2-year-old loves it, although I have seen, I don't know, up to probably 6 and 7-year-olds really enjoy it. All my kids really have enjoyed it, but they have different moral kind of ideas behind them. But this one is the Bug Squad, and it's about, she has an idea about what a party is supposed to look like, and her friends have different ideas, and she has to kind of navigate her unmet expectations, which I think kids all need to understand. So the illustrations are fun. I just really adore that they're kind of superhero-y, like Ladybug Girl, and there's Bumblebee Boy, and all of her friends. They have a bug squad where they celebrate bugs. My 2-year-old's obsessed with bugs right now. She keeps collecting worms. So my mom got a bunch of these books for her because she reminded her of Ladybug Girl. Next up is actually technically not a picture book, and it is The Book with No Pictures by B.J. Novak. He wrote on The Office. He was actually Ryan, if you've seen that sitcom. But The Book with No Pictures has been our favorite for a very long time. It is a great transition book for people who are just starting out with reading books, and they're not sure about deviating from pictures that help them tell the story, because it's so funny. There's a lot of forcing the adult reader to say funny words and to read it out loud, and it was just a really fun book. I can't say enough about this. I know that he's coming out with another children's book this year, and I'm excited about getting my hands on that one. These next ones are classics, so I'm not going to say much about them, but Where the Wild Things Are has been adored. I mean, this is getting very well loved, and I think it's our second copy. We're Going on a Bear Hunt, another good one because there's a lot of repetition in this one. Again, I think my 2-year-old can recite half of the, like this one she can recite, this one she's got down pat. This one was the first one she learned because it's just a lot of repetition. There's a lot of sounds. It's very funny. It's a good one if you haven't read that one. This next one I think is our oldest beloved favorite of my children, and you can see, I mean, it's dilapidated. It's really bad, and it's been taped. It's just lost its tape again. This is A Duck in the Truck by Jez Albro. Duck is one of the worst friends you can have, but he's very lovable because he just makes so many mistakes, and his friends help get him out of a lot of jams. So it is a series, but I love that there's a lot of rhyme in it. It's very easy to memorize for a kid. They can go through the pictures and really yeah, you can even see, I mean, this page, like, this is my favorite page. It's the slurp and squelch and suck as the sheep step slowly through the muck. And I love the alliteration, and the illustrations are great. They're trying to figure out how to get Duck's truck unstuck, and it's in the muck. So next up is another one that all of us in the family have memorized, and my husband can do the whole thing. It's another Julia Donaldson who did the Gruffalo. This is Room on a Broom. I can't say enough about this one either. It's a friendly witch, and she keeps losing things and picking up animals who are helping her, and then they help save her from a dragon. And there is nothing better than my little girl repeating, "Buzz off, that's my witch," or "A witch with French fries tastes delicious to me," because she says it with her cute little girl voice, and it's just great. So, and then this other one we actually don't have right now, because it felt, okay, first of all, my littlest does not like dust jackets. So she removes them all the time. I'm finding them everywhere. So I'd taken this dust jacket off, and then the book fell apart. Like, really fell apart. And she's getting frustrated because she found the dust jacket and she needs to have her book back. And it's actually, This Is Not My Hat by John Clausen. He's done several books. But there is a little fish who has stolen a big fish's hat that doesn't fit him. And he goes off, and he's very devious about it. But what he doesn't know is that a crab is going to rat him out as to where he is, and he will get his comeuppance. So it's very funny, very simple illustrations, but very, very cute ones. So I actually have been asked to order another copy because she needs this book back again. We just checked out the libraries, and she needs her own copy again. So those are some great picture books to kind of get you started, especially if you don't have very many. I'm sure a lot of you who have kids already do, but these are great gift books that I've given several times to different people. So those are my great picture book selections. I will probably do some great chapter read alouds in the next couple of weeks as you kind of start thinking about what you might want to add to your reading list with your kids. So I would love to hear in the comments, what are your favorite picture books, especially if you have any great picture book recommendations for girls that have a feminist bent, but include a princess or a fairy tale, because I have a few. I actually need to order them. I've gotten some from the library before. I really like The Princess and the Frozen Pack of Peas. We've also read Not All Princesses Wear Pink. And we've read The Princess and the Pig, which was they were good. But the first two I know I'm probably going to be purchasing. But yes, please, 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 any strong-willed princesses. Yeah, and we have Paper Bag Princess already as well. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Bye.